Hey everybody, it's your favorite host, Marcus Norman, your favorite gentleman of the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. Today we are interviewing this special guest. I am so excited to have her on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And I love it. And you're going to see it. You're going to see what I've been seeing for the past 2 weeks. This woman's drive and her passion and her ability. She has the biggest heart on the planet. I don't know what to say. You just have to see for yourself. Stay tuned. Stay with us. This woman is of epic proportions. Here we go. Welcome to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we have Whitney Chaffin. She's originally from East Liverpool, Ohio, and this woman moved to South Florida in 2012. But she is epic, and she has the biggest heart on the planet that I've ever seen. 2012 and 2016, in conjunction with her Delray Motors movement, she worked for more than 55 nonprofits in Palm Beach County to help them raise money and awareness for their causes. And she was able to donate $25,000 to nonprofits and a nonprofit called the Place of Hope in her adventures. She also has built out a community, a home, providing support and resources for people who need a second chance in life. And we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what that took and the heart and the passion and the never-ever ability to not give up that this woman conveys. She's also competed in the Miss Florida USA pageant, and she is lovely, y'all. Lovely. So I don't want to hold this lady back. She is a powerhouse speaker. Help me welcome to the stage the incredible Miss Whitney.
Yay!
Welcome,
Thank
Queen.
you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. And thank you for the amazing introduction. I don't know that anybody's ever said that about me, so I sincerely appreciate it.
What? Ma'am, your resume is extensive. You did all the work, and you're not stopping there. You have so much to give and so much you've done and so much you've accomplished, and it is absolutely profound. But I first things first, I got to ask, what's something that you do? Because to achieve all the things that you have done, what's something that you do that you would contribute to your success? What's a morning routine or a daily habit that you have?
So I have to attribute a lot of my success to God. I really have to say that. And I have to say also to the practice of gratitude, which I feel like is biblical, but I'm also really into like the laws of attraction and manifesting your dreams and all those things. So it kind of all comes down to a little routine that I have. It's changed a little bit because now I have a 6-month-old. So I used to, as soon as I wake up every morning, put on like a guided meditation to kind of amp up the energy in the morning. But sometimes the order of events will change because sometimes I'm tending to a diaper change or a feeding in the morning. I also have 3 animals now, so there's other priorities first. But I would say within the first hour of waking up, I do some sort of guided meditation, some sort of positive affirmation. I make a cup of coffee and I write at least 10 things I'm grateful for every single day. And then that same thing I actually do at night. And I think the nightly routine is just as important as the morning routine, because a lot of times you've probably heard the saying, like, don't go to bed angry or never go to bed, you know, if you're in an argument with your spouse. I truly believe in that. And I can't go to sleep if I have some garbage on my mind in some way. So one thing that's really, really helped me is sleep hypnosis videos. And I started doing this probably like, oh my gosh, what, it says 2022? Holy cow, 10 years ago, I think I started with the sleep hypnosis stuff, because I would go to sleep with a lot of anxiety, and then I would either wake up multiple times throughout the night, or the next morning I would wake up and still feel that anxious feeling from the night before. So when I would do a sleep hypnosis video, it would almost like clear out my mind. That way the next morning when I wake up, I'm truly waking up fresh and invigorated and like excited and just like a clean slate almost. So sleep hypnosis at night, meditation in the morning, being thankful and being grateful, I think is the biggest way to get whatever it is that you want in life.
I love that. And you start your day off on a positive note, despite, and you make sure you clear that space, you clear the air is what I'm getting, right?
Yes, you have to. I mean, at least I have to. I'm definitely an empath, and I feel people's emotions on a big scale. So taking a lot of that on requires some self love in the meantime too.
Wow. Wow. I don't know how I missed that. I forgot to mention she's a mom, y'all. She's an incredible
Thank you.
everything everything else she's doing. Everything else she's doing. She's also a mom as well. But
It is a lot. I will say it is a lot.
and you are incredible and you can handle it. God doesn't give us anything that we can't handle.
I believe
So
that. Amen.
you teach this, you coach to this, and you coach the people who seek you out. You've been phenomenal. You've traveled across the world. What you talked about this earlier, the law of attraction. Can you tell us how that has impacted your life and how people can use it and how it's played a vital role in your life?
Yes. So I kind of got hip to the laws of attraction through the book The Secret. And I have to credit my mom. She's always been this person who's like, thinks she's going to win the lottery and believes it to her core. She's like, I'm going to win that mega ball someday. She doesn't even need to win the lottery, but that's just in her brain. And that's what she wants, is to win. So she kind of like really started getting into the book The Secret, and like your thoughts are everything, and the power of your thinking, and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really want to go that route until I was almost forced to. I feel like, I think until you have enough pain in your life, you don't really seek out the change that you actually need. And so I was pretty much in a desperate place in my life. I feel like I was in my own sort of rock bottom mentally, that I was seeking whatever I could to find hope. And one thing I started doing is reading The Secret, and really getting into the gratitude practices, and also understanding how you can literally manifest anything in your life. And as much as you want to manifest all good things, if you're thinking negatively or you're giving off a negative energy, that's what you're going to bring in. So I started kind of dissecting the science of it. I started listening to Abraham Hicks, which goes a lot against religion, but if you're into kind of both, and you understand the laws of the universe, which is what I'm into, I really believe you get what you give, and that's energetically, and I think that's also like physically, what you give to the world, it comes back to you. So I started getting into really understanding the power of like a vibration within your own body, kind of thing. And I started getting into like the chakras, and like rocks and crystals, and foo stuff, but it worked for me, and I was in a weird place in my life that that's what I needed, and that's what I wanted to do. So I listened to a video that said, figuring out what you want is very difficult, but it's not that difficult if you figure out what you don't want. So I made a list of everything that I did not want in my life, and then the exact opposite of that is what I wrote on a separate page, is what I do want. So like, for example, I don't want to be cheated on in a relationship. That's one that was a theme in my life for many years. So the opposite of that is you want loyalty and commitment with a significant other. So I wrote that down. That's something that I wanted. And I did this, wrote all the things I wanted down, and they manifested in a matter of like 6 months. So then I was like, okay, this is real. And then I just kept doing it, and I still just keep doing it. And my life just keeps getting better and better.
I love that. And I needed to hear that because it's so true. What you give is what you get. No one, you reminded me of a famous speaker, and I told y'all this is celebrity status right here. You reminded me of a famous speaker that said, you can never go broke by giving. No one has ever gone broke by giving too much.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so you speak to the heart of that, and you teach to this. So thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. And I've had several scenarios in my life where people have done me wrong, and I've just given more. And sometimes that is a detriment, but it's like, I don't do it. I mean, maybe it's selfish reasons. I don't always do it for them. I do it for myself, because I believe like forgiveness is a big piece to any sort of recovery that you're trying to go through, whether it's addiction or just like personal development recovery. You have to forgive, you have to move forward. So part of my forgiveness is in giving more to people that maybe I shouldn't. And that's honestly, it's been the best theme I think I've had in my life, because even though there is those negative circumstances at times, what's ahead is far better than anything left behind.
You're so right. You're so and that's made headlines recently. Famous people, children my goodness, children have been killing themselves and committing suicide. And you got into pageantry. You got into the limelight early, right? You
Yeah.
competed for Miss Florida USAA pageant. You're a contestant, and you're still as beautiful and amazing as you
Thank
were
you.
then and you are today. So you are aging in reverse. You are
Thank you.
amazing, amazing.
Thanks.
But s- tell us, why did you compete? What was the thoughts behind you competing for Miss Florida USA
It
pageant?
was interesting. So I was born in an area of, I shouldn't even say the area. I was born into a family of entrepreneurs. So when you're surrounded by that at a young age, you kind of look at everything as almost a business opportunity. Not like, you know, to just like use somebody for business, but anything that I could see that I could create into a business in some way to provide opportunity for other people, I always kind of wanted to do that. So Miss Florida, I was nominated to compete because of all the work I was doing with nonprofits and with just giving and kind of like being a spokesperson for people who needed a second chance. And there was actually there's a group I work with called Place of Hope, and there's another league. It's called the Junior League of Women of Boca Raton, Florida. And one of the people within those organizations, I still to this day don't even know who, one of the individuals within those organizations nominated me. And so basically they reached out to me and said, Whitney, you need to compete in this pageant. And again, I don't even know who the person was. I think it was a automated type email address. So I don't know who the message came from, but they said, you're doing all of these things in the community and you just don't have a platform to share that story. So we think you should compete in the Miss Florida USA pageant. And I said, okay, cool. So I'll compete. What do I need to do? And then I realized that you actually have to qualify to be able to compete in the pageant. So I Googled, what pageant was coming up in my area. And I live in Delray Beach, Florida, which is about an hour north of Miami. And this was in October of 2000, I want to say 14 or 15. And the most recent pageant for the new year was in January. It was January 11th, and it was the Miss Art Deco pageant. So if I were to win that pageant, I would represent the art district of Miami, essentially South Beach, and would have to kind of travel there on a regular basis to do events and all that stuff. So I don't take anything lightly. Anything I do, I again treat it like a business. So starting October 31st of that year, I started training for the Miss Art Deco pageant. I started jump roping. I was drinking a gallon of water a day. I started drinking matcha green tea, which was making me lose weight. And I was, had the energy to get through the day. I didn't need any other caffeine besides that. And I just kind of monetized everything as well during that process. I get to the Miss Art Deco stage in January, and then I won that pageant. And then when I won that, I qualified now to compete in Miss Florida. So I really did it because I was nominated, but the whole real intent was to get the message across about second chances and that everyone deserves a second chance. At the time, I had no idea what that even meant, other than the pageant was a second chance for me, but it's evolved so much since that day. And now I basically live my life by second chances.
Huge,
Thank you.
huge. So you live your life by second chances. What does that mean for you? What does that look for you? Because I can only imagine with going through that process, even though you treat it like a business, there has to be bouts of moments where you're feeling not so great or not so powerful or not feeling at your best. How in those moments, how did you handle it, and what were you experiencing while preparing for that competition?
So it's interesting. After Miss Art Deco, I was almost in disbelief. Like I couldn't believe that I won a pageant when I was not a pageant girl. And I give so much respect to girls who compete there because it's literally a whole thing you have to go through. You have to learn how to walk. You have to learn how to pose. You have to learn how to do your makeup, how to do your hair, how to stand properly, how to be polished. And I am not politically correct. I throw a cuss word in every, couple sentences and stuff. I'm being on my good behavior right now, but to be honest, I'm not politically correct. So a lot of times in that whole pageant world, I was never a tomboy, but I basically had to learn how to be a girl and how to be professional in that setting. And so the first challenge was being polished. And then the second part of that was kind of the mental capacity of taking things seriously in that light, because now it was like okay, there's actually a real chance that I could win this pageant, because there were people, they were writing blogs about me saying that I was projected in the top 10, that they thought I could take it. Some people were saying I was too short, I was too thick, because I'm 5'5" and I'm muscular, and most pageant girls are 5'9" and taller, size 0. And I was not really the epitome of what you would expect to compete in a pageant. So there were some mental challenges there, but it was almost like I use it as fuel, I guess, maybe as motivation. I don't like negative reinforcement, but if somebody tells me I can't do something, watch out, because I'm ready to play. And that's how I felt the whole time. It was like almost like I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder at the beginning. But then as I was actually seeing my body change and seeing people gravitate to me in a different light, I kind of had like a moment where the mentality switched, and I was like, wow, this is not about me. It was never about me. It's about what this stage can do for others if I have the opportunity to get on that microphone and say something. And I think that was actually around my birthday, which was April. So from January to April, it was a kind of this mental journey. And then by the time I reached my birthday, that was a big deal. I got baptized on my 25th birthday. I can't remember what else kind of led me to that point, but by the time I went to compete on the stage, it didn't even matter if I won. I didn't even care anymore. It was like, this is not for me. And that whole journey of people following what I was doing to lose weight and to get sponsorships and to promote other organizations and promote other people, and the people I was able to kind of touch along the way is what made it worth it. And then kind of to tie back to your question, right after the pageant, you're competing and you're striving and you have this huge high naturally in life. And then as soon as the pageant was over, it was like this huge dip of like my serotonin or dopamine levels, whatever is the one that has levels. I don't know. But I had this like decrease in positive momentum where it was almost like a year span of what now?
What's next? Yeah. What's next? What's the next milestone? That's huge. And that's epic because it really speaks to what you go through, the highs and lows. You've achieved this. And like you said, you took people. It's funny. We're the same way, right? People say you can't do something. I say, oh, really? Why not? And it's like, well, like you said, I'm not built that way. I don't look like your average model. I'm muscular and tall and shorter than your average model. So it's like, let me show you otherwise. Let me prove you wrong. And you did that.
Thank you.
Something I learned in your story about you is that also drove home the point of why you believe in second chances, because you founded your program, your home, called Whitney's Place. What led to the build out of Whitney's Place, and what does Whitney Place do?
So Whitney's Place, I'll first answer that. Whitney's Place is basically a housing provider for men and women needing a second chance, specifically coming out of prison and drug and alcohol addiction. Although I work with several organizations. If you're someone of domestic violence, a victim of domestic violence, a victim of human trafficking, a former veteran, and you're homeless, like there's so many groups I'm connected with, but the two that I am particularly aligned with is drug and alcohol recovery and reentry, returning citizens from prison. And it's interesting how things unfold, because that was never my intent, was to open a house for men and women in recovery. I just always felt inclined to help people in recovery. And that started at a very young age, before I ever even knew, what recovery actually was. I have a lot of friends and family members who suffer from drug and alcohol addiction. I've had a lot of friends and family members who've been incarcerated, some who still are incarcerated, some who are recently incarcerated. And, everyone makes mistakes. And I've made some in my own life, we all do, but I've made some big mistakes where I've had regret for a long time. And I was just praying and hoping for some new opportunity to kind of right my wrong. And that was actually Miss Florida, was my recovery from what happened in my life in LA, which was my second chances. I was a nanny in LA, and I had these 3 kids I was taking care of. And because of my own mental stuff that was happening, I basically quit my job taking care of these kids with no notice. I mean, I tried to give a notice, but things that were unfolding in my life didn't allow for it. So I beat myself up for a long time because these kids needed a nanny. But on top of that, I basically blew an opportunity for me to work in the TV world, because I had the greatest connection I could have had to be an entertainment news reporter, which is what my dream was for a long time. And so I needed a second chance to like become the person I've always wanted to be. And I just wanted that for so long. And it took me like 5 years to finally find an opportunity. And my second chance was not that important, I feel like, compared to people who truly need a second chance because they've committed a crime or they've hurt their family through addiction or something like that. So my love for that particular population happened at a very young age. And then as I kind of grew as a person, I learned that so many people suffer from mental problems in some way, whether it's anxiety or it's depression or whatever. And it breaks my heart to think that people have to escape the natural high of life with an artificial high of a substance. And I have always been very naturally high on life, but I've also been depressed. I've gone through a depression, and I was able to get out of that without any sort of prescription medication or anything. And so that's kind of what I became the advocate of, is finding happiness without any artificial substance to get you there. I do drink a cup of coffee every morning, but that's my addiction, I would say. But with that, I just kind of found light in life, and I wanted to help people see that. And that's kind of what I guess led me to Whitney's Place. The Whitney's Place specifically that's still being created happened in 2016, because in 2016, I walked into a post office and I met a guy who was getting ready to open up a recovery home, but he didn't know anything about real estate. He knew everything about addiction and treatment and recovery, but knew nothing about properties. And I did. So the two of us kind of connected there. We built a recovery home and we housed 12 men in drug and alcohol recovery. And that was in August of 2016. And then since then, I've just expanded kind of into my own thing, which is Whitney's Place.
What kind of services does Whitney's Place provide specifically? Because you mentioned drug and alcohol addiction. Any other addictions or that are out there that you also aid to? And what kind of sources or aid do you provide to people who come there and seek you out?
So any addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex addiction, gambling addiction, whatever it is, I'm connected to treatment centers that can help that individual get treatment. I personally am not a treatment provider. I am a housing provider. So I can provide resources for living. But usually to get to a house, you have to go through some sort of treatment program. At least that's where the model's at right now. The goal, because I understand real estate, is to eventually help these individuals also obtain home ownership, because I know it is very difficult to find a place to live if you've got a criminal record. And if you do have an addiction problem, this is not to discriminate, but it's likely that you may also have a criminal record just because of what your addiction sometimes can make you do. So I know that it's difficult to find housing for that reason. And it's also difficult to find a job. And so I can help with job placement. I can help with housing, even if I'm not the actual provider. I have other providers that I can refer people to, with getting a college degree. If you're somebody who wasn't able to obtain a degree, I actually work for a company. I'm their brand ambassador, Elite Legacy Education, and we have a legacy degree program where people can actually get a degree for less than $10,000, and it can be in any arena that you want for your career. But I can help with that. I can help with if you need like food stamps or you need funding sources, I have connections for that as well. So just depends on the individual and what they're actually going through, because a lot of the funding and the resources are based on the individual and what they actually need, where they've come from, where they've been, and anything that they may qualify for.
Miss Whitney, y'all, I am in awe of this powerhouse woman. And again, y'all, I had the skinny, I had the 411 on this lady, and I'm still taken back by her incredible heart. Wow. We have to pay some bills, y'all. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a reliable professional trucking and logistics service, you've come to the right place. Musa Trucking is a veteran-owned and operated premier transportation provider that can help with all of your trucking and logistics needs. Musa is revolutionizing the trucking industry through strategic partnerships, the development of core personnel, and the use of cutting-edge technology. Our inventory system ensures that cargo ends up divided into the right trucks and reaching the correct destination. Our drivers are dedicated to transporting goods efficiently and safely. Contact us today to get started by visiting the website on the screen or by calling 757-756-5246.
We have the incredible Miss Whitney, and she is spilling the tea on all the incredible things she's done, all the incredible work she's doing today, and how she, even herself, has a heart for people who suffer from any kind of addiction, sexual, drug addiction, molestation, and has created a space that is still growing, a safe haven for those that need an outlet, those that need a place to call home. Call Whitney's Place. And she's not stopping for anything. This train has left the station. And if you missed that, if you missed it, if you are just tuning in, go back, scroll back, and check her out. She is absolutely phenomenal. And she's here on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show, giving back today. Miss Whitney.
Yes.
I gotta ask a question. This has been bugging me ever since. But what's the goal for you? Because you mentioned this isn't the end for you. What advice? Because I'm unfamiliar. I've had bouts. I think we've all come accustomed to meeting people in our lives through various points in our lives who suffer from some kind of addiction, and we don't know what to do at that moment to help that person. What advice would you give to that young man, that young woman out in the audience who may be on the fence and has an addiction, but they don't know how to say it? And me, who doesn't know how to help them, what advice would you give to that young boy or that young girl?
It's tough to say sometimes because I feel like it's a lot of recovery is a personal journey. And until you get to that pain point or that rock bottom, it's really, really hard to help someone if they don't want the help themselves. However, I think one of the big themes in my life is why. Why do you want to be sober, or why are you using? I think so much of our society looks at the symptoms and they don't look at the underlying cause of what's happening. And I read somewhere when I was getting my life coach recovery certification that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. It's feeling connected to other people, and it's having the feeling of being heard and knowing that people out there feel sometimes what you feel. And I think this is probably aligns with, the Gentleman Podcast, is a lot of men just, systematically, a lot of times they feel like what they feel is not normal in terms of emotions or, am I making the right choice or whatever? That's what I found with a lot of the guys I've worked with, that they have doubts in themselves and they aren't sure that other guys feel that way too. They think maybe something's wrong. So they feel like something's wrong with them. And now they're depressed. And now maybe they're looking for some sort of substance to fix that problem, whether it's an upper or a downer or whatever. And with that, what I want to say, if someone's listening right now who's going through that, is you're not alone. And we all feel those, men or women, doesn't matter. We all feel those sort of emotions, but you have to figure out what's the most important thing to you. What is it that you want out of life? Is it that you want to be happy? Is it that you want to be sober? Is it that you want a family? If you don't know what you want, then how are you going to know why you want it? And then once you figure out why you want it, then you can determine if that's more important than what you're currently doing. And it's a whole process that would take some time. There is a book I would recommend. It's called Unwinding Anxiety. It's by a guy, I can't even remember his name off the top of my head, but what it basically goes through is it helps you understand your habits and what triggers you to create those habits, and then how to actually resolve them. And I've read a lot of books on like the psychology of why we do what we do, but this is the first book I've read that actually gives you practical steps to overcome whatever those triggers are, so you can create better habits for your life. A lot of our addictions or whatever it is, sometimes it's just habitual, and it's just that we're so used to subduing a problem with a substance or with something else, whether it's overeating or it's overindulging. We a lot of times will create that habit in our life, and then anytime we're triggered by it, we're just going to go to that habit, and we don't even know we're doing it until it's too late and we're at a position where we have to face the truth and have that pain in our life.
Or I'm on a television episode of 600 Pound Life. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You never know.
It's too late. Yeah. What is a certified recovery life coach?
So I guess I'm a progressive recovery life coach, which I say I guess just because I don't really know what the whole the title is for, but I am essentially a life coach, but I have a specialty in helping people who have some sort of addiction. And honestly, the root of figuring it out is figuring out the why and your mission and your vision and your purpose of why you want to be sober or you want whatever it is you want. That's what I learned when I got the certification. And so basically, if somebody is suffering from addiction or they're just suffering from depression, I would say too, they could reach out to me to be able to help them overcome that. I used to do it as a volunteer and I still do, but there are actually people who would pay now to have the service once they get to a certain point. So it just depends where the person's at in their recovery. If they're brand new, a lot of times I do it on a volunteer basis.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Miss Whitney, you do so much. You do an incredible job and you balance it all and you somehow manage to keep your hair and don't lose your shirt over any of it. What's next? What do you have coming down the pipeline? What's in store for us?
So right now, I do have my son. He's 6 months old, and I'm getting married in June, actually. So the next thing this weekend is my bachelorette party. So that's the first thing. But I've been kind of in this transition right now because the recovery and reentry population is very close to my heart, and I don't think I'll ever close the door on that group or that mission. But I am really inclined to help children. And I know that there's a lot right now with the future generations that just aren't aware of like the reason for procreating and the reason for having big families and the reason for a lot of those things, in addition to our huge human trafficking problem as a nation. And so I think my shift is going to be more in the foster care area. I think that's where it's going to end up heading in the next, I would say, 5 years. My fiance is a general contractor and builds new construction homes on the water here in Florida. And I'm also a licensed real estate agent. So together we are attempting to build kind of our empire of duplicating Place of Hope. And Place of Hope is a nonprofit that houses children aging out of foster care, neglected and abused children. And they have an entire campus of properties that they do this for. They provide the housing for these kids, and they have house moms and dads that help them and mentor them. And so I think in the next 5 years, that's probably where my business will shift, is into that realm. But right now, in this moment, my main focus is being a mom. And I want 5 kids. I want to be that stay at home, obviously making money and working in my own way. But I very badly want to be present in my kids' life and want to be the one that raises them. So that's the most important thing, is being a wife and a mom. And then secondly would be helping other people.
Miss Whitney, this is a famous quote by you that I found in research, but what you talk about this and you teach this, you talk about building profit and purpose. What does that mean to you?
So it means a lot because I basically, I don't want to give you too much of a life story. I know we're probably on a time frame here, but when I was a kid, my dad was a real estate investor. He still is, but he read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by a man named Robert Kiyosaki. And if you've never heard the book, you need to go buy it. But that book changed my dad's life and then in turn changed mine. And so when I was about 11 years old, my dad went to a real estate workshop and he purchased this big education package to learn how to expand his real estate investments. And he, at that point, ended up going from 12 properties to 60 in a matter of 6 months. And he did it using none of his own money. Yeah. So at that point, I think by the time he was all done with it, I was like 12 or 13 years old. He was then asked to come on and be a trainer for this company called Elite Legacy Education. And so back in 2002 or 3, it was, he came on, he was a trainer, he was a mentor, and he's teaching people all over the world how to invest in real estate. Well, you would think that I would kind of follow that path naturally, but I didn't. It took me until I was 25 years old to realize, oh, hey, I want to do real estate too. So at 25 years old, my dad is still today, even in 2022, still involved with Legacy. He's still a trainer and mentor. But at 25 years old, when I won the pageant or finished the pageantry and kind of got into this little funk of my own, I wanted to change, and I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 anymore. I was kind of sick and tired of that mundane 40-hour work week, that I told my dad I wanted to change. And he said, well, if you want to do real estate, I'm not teaching you how to do it. You got to go take these classes and figure it out that way, because what good would it be if I just give you the money and give you the properties? What are you actually going to learn? And what would you do if something happened to me? You got to learn how to do this on your own. So I went through the process there and kind of started learning about the different strategies in real estate. And I learned that you could actually help people and make money. And that's kind of what Whitney's Place is. We have the ability there to provide housing, which brings in a significant amount of cash flow. But while you're doing it, you're helping people who would otherwise be homeless. So you kind of have this mix of passion and purpose and profit and purpose. And some people kind of get a negative connotation at the beginning because they're like, you're using these individuals to make money. And it's like, no, we're not. We're building beautiful homes that are furnished, that have house rules, that put these people in a safe place that would otherwise be homeless or going back to prison. So, we're doing a good deed. And a lot of the money that we would make on the property goes right back into it. We pay a mortgage, we pay utilities, we make sure the house is furnished. And then, yeah, we have to legally get a profit from it. And in order for things to operate, you have to, but it's not the mission. The mission is providing the housing. And then when you help enough people get what they want, you're ultimately going to get what you want, which in this case would be a profit, making a little bit of money in the meantime. So, it means a lot to me. It's my whole life. And I've actually spent the last 4 years traveling the country, teaching people how to do this in their own market.
Huge. Heart of pure gold, y'all.
Oh,
Miss Whitney, absolutely. Miss Whitney, how can we connect with you? How can we learn more? How can we stay connected and grow with you as you go and as you achieve greater and greater heights, as you build out Whitney's Place or Whitney's Place Part 2 or Whitney's Place Ventures, right?
Yes. So the best way right now is Instagram. I'm on there at least daily. Now that I'm a mom, I try to really be present, but my Instagram is at Whit Chaffin. So it's WHITCHAFF as in Frank, IN. I have a private profile, but I accept everybody who follows me. I just keep it private for the protection of my baby, my little 6-month-old, because I post a lot of baby pictures and animal pictures. But Instagram's my direct contact. From there, I'm even open to giving my phone number, but I like to have the Instagram connection first. And then when it comes to like getting educated, and if you're wanting to learn how to invest in real estate in the way that I do, where you can actually help people who need a second chance, make some money and provide that, we do have a website called legacyeducation.com. That one would allow for you to take courses and things like that. But you can always connect with me and I can connect you with that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Woo! So hit her up, y'all. Connect. She's spilling the tea. She's giving you the sauce. You can't ask for any more than that. You're not going to get that anywhere else, right? And this is why I created the show. Miss Whitney, you are phenomenal. You are huge. And I love the fact that you give back in this way. And you're right. You should make money. You deserve to make money. And that is never a bad thing because you are helping others, right? And so we need you. I want to say this to you publicly. Never give up. Don't quit. We need you. So continue to do the great work that you're on. Continue to build with you and your husband. And congratulations on the engagement.
Thank you.
Have fun. Have fun on your bachelorette party. Not too much fun.
No, not too much fun. I'm looking forward to sleeping in. So that's really all I care about is maybe a massage and sleep. I mean, everyone's like, oh, party. I'm like, I'm good. I just want to sleep.
Absolutely. Miss Whitney, thank you so much. And thank you for giving back this way. I appreciate you. I want to say this to my audience. I want to say this to you guys. You guys connect. I'm gonna put her website back up on the screen. Connect, because we need her. We need to uplift this woman. She's doing phenomenal things and she's doing powerful things and she needs to be uplifted.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Like I always end every show, y'all. You know this. Your favorite gentleman is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show and the incredible, amazing Miss Whitney Chaffin. Stay connected. Like I end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always take care of business. This is Marcus Norman signing off and Miss Whitney Chaffin. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.